you look at this Mirage team, Supersonic, and we thought a little while back when they knocked out, when they beat, what was it? They beat Stromboli, right? When Stromboli looked completely untouchable, nobody's going to beat this team. They did, and we thought that was their signature win until last week on the B stream, when, as I mentioned, their season was over, done, 10 seconds left against Monkey Business. They're about to get swept, and they come up with the most miraculous comeback I've ever seen in the rival series over 3 games. Feels like a team of destiny at this point.
Yeah, it absolutely feels like a team that can show up when they absolutely have to. Really, had they lost that Stromboli series, most likely that was the season, right? You lose to Stromboli and then you take an 0-3 to Chaos and a 1-3 to Ablev. You probably don't have the motivation to rally at that point and get that 3/2 win when you to counter sweep Monkey Business. So that's probably the deciding moment, is that Stromboli match. And that also, to me, speaks volumes to them, because that was when we saw them come in with an absolute game plan, complete change up, and loved watching that happen. We asked for Luke to show up. Luke showed up. Everything went right for them. They executed their plan flawlessly, but we haven't seen them really play that motivated or that well with that type of plan since, and I'd love to see more of that Mirage. That Mirage that week was amazing.
Well, they're going to try to keep RBG winless on the season. Have them finish out their campaign 0-9. If Mirage do that, they will secure a spot in the top 6. It really is that simple. The shot's going to be off the mark from Tool. Tool can center, though. He's got Bambi over there, and he'll take the shot, and Tool scores first.
No need to center. If you can just hit the ball into the open net. Tool coming out of the corner there to actually hit the inside angle and catch that ball back into the net.
So it is, the first goal belongs to RBG. And now, start to kind of worry just a little bit about what is in the tank. Well, no, I mean, you start to worry a little bit about, is Mirage going to kind of be that team that, okay, we're waiting for something to go wrong, now it has. Do they start to slump their shoulders, or do they answer back immediately? Because again, they went from a team that was out of it just about 6 days ago to, okay, we got a shot at this. And now their fate is in their hands when it's finally game time.
Seeing which way it goes, if they are that team or not. I still have faith that they're going to figure this one out here in this match. I'm not expecting this one to go the distance to game 5s, but I wasn't necessarily expecting them to come into that match against Monkey Business and have to do a counter sweep either. So they've proven me wrong before.
This ball will be thrown up to the side, and it is J-Russ clearing off the backboard. Quick transition for Mirage, and there is the answer. It is Luke, who has had a stellar second half to the season.
Yeah, Luke's somebody that we were looking for more out of the whole season. Finally starts doing so. Slight bump there in the goal. I actually didn't catch that at the time that it was scored the first time, but there was a bump, I believe, onto Bambi in the net, forcing him to continue his path into the back and into the ceiling, where he's just unable to get back for that, allowing Luke that easy follow-through to get that goal.
Pass one as he beats J-Russ. Can this ball get centered? No. Bambi taken away from the play for a moment. Another good challenge by Tool. And Portland is beaten at the end, so RBG has to reset. Again, the former Zookeepers who made that decision so early on after the end of last season. They wanted to stick together, and it worked out a little bit more like Baguette Squad than it did, say, BDS. With BDS going number 1 in the league earlier in Europe.
Yeah, that staying together definitely
that's got to be cleared away.
Definitely had a different ring to it on the BDS side than it has so far for RBG. Unfortunately, they have not been able to piece their season together to make an improvement.
This ball will roll out. It should be Porklets, and he took a little too long to get there, so ball ends up deep in the RBG zone again. Now another chance for Tool. High angle shot's going to be sent away by Freshness. Back out in front, and here comes Mirage, but only for a moment. That demo, though, by Luke, boy, that takes out Bambi, and that kills anything RBG had going on that half of the field. Now Porklet with a minute plus has to reset for RBG. They have struggled in this type of game all season. They have just lacked that final strike to push ahead in the closing minutes. Normally, they are the team that gives up a goal with, 40, 30 seconds left. And then all the momentum, the wind just comes right out of their sails. Like it could here. J-Russ for Freshness. And Luke got spun out, so he's got to retreat.
Yeah, unfortunate situation there. Had Luke been able to get up and off the ground, not got flipped around quite that way, or even maybe half flipped through it to try and get his momentum going forward. I think he was too far or too close to the net to be able to do so. That would have been a beautiful pass into a shot opportunity there for him.
Challenged out of the corner with 15 to go. Nothing doing just yet. Neither team has had a great look. If Mirage had one about 30 seconds ago, it was foiled by a bump. Last chance for RBG. That doesn't go through. We're going to go to overtime in game one. Now J-Russ. Locked here, and these two teams, they've played plenty of overtimes throughout this season. Raj has been A-OK. Got a chance here, but that's going to be wide. Bambi lobbing another one in. J-Russ going to bring it right back downfield. RBG has not been able to get across that center line much in the last, say, 2 minutes of gameplay. Bambi misses this. And here comes Mirage again. Trying to do it again in overtime. Not yet, as that ball's going to be cleared away as well.
Oh, open goal opportunity there. Going to be missed by Luke. He definitely wants to have another shot at that one. And I 100% agree with you. They haven't been able to really get anything going. They're getting down there and they're getting into the opponent's half, but they're not making anything of it. They're just kind of getting there, bringing the ball down and dropping it off, and then watching the ball turn back the other way, and that shot is wide.
Another one lobbed up. That's going to be set all the way across. Freshness is waiting, and his shot's blocked away as well. Luke will try his luck. Does he have the touch he needs? No, that's swatted away by Bambi. And here they go. Quickly back the other way, and RBG takes it in OT.
What happened here with Mirage? J-Russ, the third man, coming out of the box, really pressing up, playing, overextending quite a bit, and unfortunately not able to get up to the ball in time. It just leaves the net open behind him. And those are those little mistakes that we see that happen in the middle of the pack in the bottom half that we don't watch occur quite as often with our teams in the upper end of the brackets or in the upper end of the league play.
So it does go 2-1 in overtime to RBG. And for Mirage, now I ask the question again. What does the pressure feel like for them now, Supersonic? Because they had this game that, again, on paper, like it's supposed to be a walk in the park, but we saw that with Espanyol earlier. It was not the breeze it was supposed to be against Baguette Squad. Is there a little doubt creeping into the back of their minds, you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. At this point, this is the moment where that leader on your team, that voice on your team, it's that guy in the locker room that gets you going again at halftime when you've had a bad play or something's going wrong, that needs to turn this around for them quickly. If you start letting that doubt seep in and you focus on that, it's going to be a detriment to your play. They need to get that turned around. Somebody on that team needs to figure out what's going wrong, because if you go down 2, Now it's a really bad situation. Yeah. So they need to rally here. They can't let this go where they're down 2.
Goals from Bambi and Tool for RBG carry them to victory in game 1. Let's see what the teams have for it on board. Mirage, remember, have to win this series to secure their spot in top 6. They lose, they cannot get any help from anybody else. Monkey Business, of course, would love to see it. It is Monkey Business after all that has happened. They need RBG to get their first win of the season to stay alive.
Yeah, I mean, Monkey Business gets kept alive here, and it comes via a team that was what's the friend 0-8, and they're looking to be 1-8 now. They're trying to oust their friend Owen from the island. They're throwing this guy out. They're boating him off. They are attempting to say, no, we can win games. This season just wasn't quite what we wanted.
Well, if this keeps up, Luke will have to worry about what the format is for the play-in tournament next season. Here's Freshness, blocked by Bambi. Back downfield, this will go. And again, more possession for RBG. Looked like a much different team this time around. They were a little bit worried before this series of whether or not Portland would be able to play. He had some internet issues earlier, but he is playing. They do not need to use their sub, who scored a goal in 3 games previously. This will be set away. And now to be J-Russ trying to collect this. Instead, it's Tool who somehow comes out of that crowd with the ball. Now Freshness over one, but nobody else downfield, so he has to try and delay for his teammates to get there, and it doesn't work out. Forklet keeps that at the center line, and all Freshness can do is dump it back in to be sent away. That miss by Bambi could have been costly, but J-Russ couldn't stay with the ball. It has not been a pretty series, one way or the other, but first game did go to overtime. It was Bambi who ended that OT for RBG. And ultimately, it doesn't matter how pretty the game is. What matters is who wins and loses. That was RBG, and they lead right now with 3 minutes left in game 2.
Yeah, so far the look on the Mirage side has definitely left a lot to be desired. There's a ton of times that we've seen, like right here, J-Russ and Luke right alongside each other up against the sidewall. They're not getting spread out. They don't have field presence. They don't have that coverage area going for them the whole time because they continually end up in these situations where one guy's coming out of the corner and the other one dives into the sidewall and starts coming through that same corner with them. They need to get some level of rotation going. Right now, it feels like 3 individual players on the team and not a squad.
J-Russ trying to tie the game. Dish off to Freshness, and he will.
And there's a little bit of team play for you. J-Russ with a beautiful catch and carry over here. Nice release onto the nose of Freshness, and he just puts that one away. Nice fast 69 miles per hour.
2.5 to go, a little bit less. What does RBG have for an answer this time? J-Russ lobbing one netward that Portland has to deal with, and he hasn't kept possession, instead handed it off to Luke. Freshness will turn. Portland is there ahead of him, though. This should be a good pass up to Luke. It is a blistering shot. No, but the follow-up from J-Russ. That's the team play we've been waiting for out of Mirage.
That's the team play plus a little bit of luck. We're going to call that the 3.5 player. Lady Luck going to get involved there as that ball bounces off that left post, but comes straight back out into J-Russ as he's able to just bury it in the back of the net. This is exactly what Mirage needs to get that motivation going and start getting some plays.
Another big drive. Luke went deep into the net and could not get out in time. Bambi strikes again.
This is just bad motion there from Luke as he goes way too deep and isn't turned around. He should have quick turned there in the corner, and he kind of lazily got himself turned back around to go for that ball.
Well, we're right back to where we were not too long ago, all tied up. J-Russ gives this away to Tool. Tool needs one more touch or a bump on Joe. That'll work as well. Luke should have this ball away, but instead he put it right onto Bambi. And J-Russ has been left in an awkward spot. Porklet bearing down on him. Now Tool. This will get back out in front. Nobody seems to be going for it, so Luke will have to take over. I don't think Luke wanted to be the one who had to play that ball, but everybody else abandoned ship. They went for boost, or they went for some other positioning. That left him in a tough spot. Now Tool wants that one back. It's just nowhere near the net.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Luke was expecting Freshness. I think it was Freshness to cut across the mid and was right underneath the ball. I think he was expecting him to catch and pick that ball up and take it down the field, and then he was going to come in to be that second man. And Freshness just went ahead and kept on driving. Didn't even look twice at that ball.
This will drop as far as Porklet. He's going to helplessly fall from the ceiling. He's out of the play, but this ball goes all the way off to the corner. It gives everybody time to reset. Bambi is trying to force his way through the crowd. A lot of cars, all three of Mirage, jumbled up on the side, but they do not get punished. Now J-Russ, he threads the needle to give Mirage the lead.
J-Russ going to put that one away. High shot angle here. Going to catch it dead center of the bottom of the chassis. Puts it away. Got to feel good about getting that one after missing the opportunity before. I do believe he was the one that took the shot when Luke came through and got a bump in the goal, had an open net, and ended up just putting it high into the backboard, which gave RBG time to get back.
That was also not good defense after a couple misses opening things up. You have to scramble now. RBG, 8 seconds to tie the game. Porklet's out of the play as he flipped up near the ceiling. Nobody forward for that ball, and Freshness should just kill it here. He does. Boy, that seems inexplicable there, Supersonic. When you're down, when you hear that countdown, you've got bodies forward. You can't be that far back, right?
Oh, you can't be that far back, and the other thing is you saw that pressure kind of get to Porklet. He was coming off the ceiling. He ended up not timing his jump right. Instead, he ends up just kind of side flipping and hanging out in the air, which just gave that ball away. It definitely, the pressure felt like it got to them there in those final moments when they realized that they were down a goal. And sometimes that's that mental game. It gets to you, you let it set in, and unfortunately, it got the better of them there at the end of that match.
So let's recap where we're at here. 1 game apiece between Mirage and RBG Esports. The game doesn't mean anything for RBG. They are going to go number 10, no matter what happens from here. But Mirage, they win this series. Not only do they go into the top 6, but they would also knock out, I believe, Monkey Business. And after that, if memory serves me correct, Warriors International would need Chaos to win. So that's what Mirage is playing for right now. Secure their spot in the top 6. Avoid the rival series play-in next season. Meanwhile, if RBG does manage to pull this out here, all of a sudden, Monkey Business is back in business. They would still be alive to stay in the top 6. So too would Warriors International. So there's a lot of moving pieces here as we close out this season with just a match and a half remaining.
Yeah, NA has definitely been a bit of a cluster there, and a lot of moving pieces here, kind of keeping teams alive, or who's going to make it and who's not. I'm glad that you're here, man. I know I've said it a couple times today, but I appreciate you being here to do all those moving pieces for me, because that's just not where my brain works unless I'm sitting down with paper, and unless everybody wants to watch me sit here and like jot on a piece of paper. I'm thankful for you.
Well, we do have kind of an extended break here going into game 3. We're going to get another lobby up for the players, make sure they are all ready to go. So while they test that out, we'll talk about a little bit about what's coming up next too. Our final match of North America Supersonic. Chaos Esports, they don't care about this match at all, really. They know, well, it kind of matters. If they win 2 games in that series, they'll knock out Monkey Business. But in all likelihood, they're going to be in a position where they absolutely need to win that series against Chaos. Against Charlotte. And Charlotte, of course, they do need to win that series because Omni was victorious earlier. So Still a lot to be determined here in the last upwards of potentially 8 games in North America, but the short version is if Charlotte wins the next series, they go number 1, and if they lose, it'll be Omni going directly to the RLCS after the great second half of the season they've had.
Yeah, there's a bunch going on there. Sorry, I was getting myself into that new lobby.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
a ton going on between those second two again, and I liked your other coming in on that though. Chaos is the only team that's going to beat Chaos. It's them against themselves. What do you mean? They don't have to beat
Yeah,
Charlotte.
yeah,
They just
right,
need to
of
beat
course.
themselves.
Well, you know what? There's probably is a lot to that because it feels like at times their worst enemy has been themselves. But we
Yes.
go back to this match here and everything that's on the line. Of course, we mentioned Mirage. They win, they're in. They lose, they're out. RBG result doesn't matter to them, but you know that they are going to bring it. They have fought all season long. They have battled. They've battled. They have had They've had a lot of things not go their way, and it has been very frustrating on their part, I'm sure. But it would be so great for them to go out on a W here and just have something good going for them as they finish out this season.
Yeah, going out anywhere and having having something go your way, especially at the end of the season after the season that they've had, and kind of doing a yes, we can play. Yes, we can play at this level, and getting a win here against a team that is scheduled to beat you in a team where they are motivated more than they're ever going to be to get this win. It does say something at the end of your season. No, you're not going to do better than 10th. It's unfortunately that is the situation. But it has to feel good at the end to at least close out with a win, show that you can get that done, and then go back and regroup. Not sure if you decide to stay together still or not, but having something to go off of and build off of if you do choose to going into the next season is much better than ending 0-9 and coming in the next season with, can we even do this? Are we really going to do this again?
And give these guys a lot of credit too. You know, so often you see a team have this kind of a record at some point during the season. You hear about somebody's just not caring. Maybe they're not even in comms, or they just start pointing fingers. You have not heard that from this RBG squad, as Porklet makes the save there, keeps them scoreless in game number 1. And J. Russ now will lob one up, take this himself, got the reset, but couldn't put it on target.
Yeah, I 100% agree. There are those storylines. They existed this season, not on the NA side, but we had it happen on the EU side, where a team, players no longer a part of a team or no longer caring, and just as if you're doing this and you're showing up and you're trying to make something out of this in video games, I can tell you one thing: being somebody that just quits regardless of situation, giving up and leaving your team and hanging them out to dry, typically doesn't bode very well for players going forward.
Well, shout out to Ben over on Baguette Squad. He is not going to be a sub for very long. I can assure you that.
No.
Porklet trying to carry this through in front. RBG did get a demo in the net, but it didn't open anything up. They got a chance here. Bambi trying to score. Doesn't work out, but they do have the pressure on. Porklet over to Tool. Needs one more touch.
Ooh.
And he's got it down and in.
Does he even have any boost left? Is this just I'm here, convenience sake? No, he definitely boosted into that one. It looked like he was just falling from the angle I had. I thought he just fell on the ball and it happened to go. That was definitely intentional. Great second touch from Tool to put that one away.
Working on fumes at that point, but falling with style works out. Now Bambi. RBG has scored the first goal in all 3 games. We are tied 1 game apiece. An overtime winner from Bambi. It's Tool who makes the save here. He got bumped away, and Bambi will get there just ahead of J. Russ. Porklet, full tank of boost. Got a center here, instead put a shot on, and Luke is there to shut it down. Can RBG hold this lead? They have not been able to hold a lead yet. J. Russ denied, and it will be Tool bringing one by Freshness, who he kind of hung himself up on the side. This will get over to Bambi. Off the corner, but Porklet turns away, as does Tool. Nobody diving in for that play. RBG playing very conservative with the 1-goal lead. That doesn't necessarily bode well for teams. You know, sometimes if you've got a stellar defense, you can lock a team down, Supersonic, but when you're against a team like Mirage who can score as quickly as they can, something's eventually going to give.
Well, you would think that, but currently right now, over the past 2 games, Mirage has actually been stuck in the defensive half about 70% of the match. RBG has actually had control of the pace of this game, so as long as they don't break that third man and he doesn't overcommit, which right here it looks like Porklet is deciding to stay back already. He's playing that third man role well. They could potentially keep Mirage just stuck on their half.
Oh, that challenge by Tool's gonna go in. They tried to play him like a fiddle and he burned him.
Third man, we were just talking about it, and this third man was actually sitting out wide rather than dead center. If you're going to be up that far, you better be middle of the field so you can make a play on a ball like that. You can't be out on the sides trying to grab boost in a moment where a challenge is going down.
So now a 2-goal lead, the biggest of the series for RBG. And they hold this with less than a minute left. J-Russ couldn't keep control, so Porklet will come in and slow things down. That is not something Mirage can afford. Luke with a drive, and almost getting there was Tool, but they're back within 1.
Able to just sneak it in off that cheeky pinch from J-Russ out into the mid. Tool almost gets it. Just cannot get behind it. Catches it from the side, and that forward momentum continues its way into the net.
Well, the comeback kings are at it again. Do they have yet another up their sleeve? Here goes Freshness, wide turn. Over towards Luke and cut out well by Tool. 30 seconds. J-Russ out of boost, so he can't chase this down. Bambi needs one more to get over Joe, and he does. So now Tool burn a little more time off. Luke did well, though, to get this towards J-Russ, though I don't think they intended to come together like that. Freshness out towards Luke, but it's bombed away again. J-Russ got to scramble all the way back to give them one last chance with 5 seconds left. Gonna need that midfield boost. J-Russ did get it, but Tool should let this go, and he does not. So with 0 on the clock, do they have any more heroics? No, they do not. After that last stop, RBG up 2-1 in the series.
RBG is controlling the pace of this game. Now, in that second match, they did end up losing to Mirage, but in terms of field presence, number of shots, I'd have to go back and confirm shots. They definitely won on shots here. They're controlling the pace of the game. They're controlling the midfield. They're not allowing Mirage to make any real plays coming out of their half of the field. The majority of the time, they're getting forced into situations where they're kind of having to try and take it to the sidewall, and sometimes you turn it into a pinch from J-Russ and get something out of it. But the majority of the time, they're bombing them off the sidewall or bombing them from back and just booming them back down the field and just returning the ball back to RBG, and they make another approach. Now, they're not shooting very hot. They don't have a high shooting percentage. They haven't all season. But when you let them outshoot you 10-6, eventually they're going to score one.
Yeah, something's got to give eventually, right? And it has. Mirage find themselves now, after last week, they could not have been any more dead with 15 seconds left in Game 3 against Monkey Business. And all of a sudden, they come into this match with a chance to get into the top 6, and all the cards have fallen into place perfectly for them. And now, against RBG of all teams, they need to win 2 in a row to save their season once again. 5 more minutes on the clock at Utopia Coliseum. Here we go, Mirage. What do you got? Luke trying to go over Tool.
How upset do you get if you lose this series to RBG and you're just like, boys, you had 10th no matter what. Just leave us alone. Let us stay in the league. Like, I'm hoping that none of these guys are real close friends, because this is how you ruin a friendship. Freshness, he's going to open this one up as he puts this one away back behind Porklet. Bambi coming in with a flip there in the corner, challenging. I have no idea what. Should have been turning for net. And that shot going to go into a very, very vacant. I can speak. I swear I can. Open net there. Words are hard.
Yeah, right. Well, it'll be Luke. This is the first time that Mirage has scored first in a game, but Luke can't convert there to double the lead. Now J. Russ, he's got a full tank. Can't do anything with it. Luke will try his luck, and Tool should be all over this play, and he is. It'll be on Mirage to send off kind of a light volley here, though Bambi, oh, he had a chance. Oh, that pinballs around off of Portland, and then Tool somehow finds the mark.
Man, what a billiard shot here as it just rebounds everywhere like it's a break. Tool able to pick that one up at the last second, though, and just squeezes it into that upper 90.
This is great from Tool. Make that 5 goals in the series. I don't think a single one of them has been pretty, but it has been effective. They will take anything they can get. That leads all
ugly goal is worth,
of course.
Ugly goal is worth the same as a...
Yeah, an ugly goal is absolutely worth the same as the double touch that ends up on the highlight reel. Big drive right here from Luke. That's saved away by Tool. He put it right on it. This will drop straight down. Tool just pops it away. And now it will be Luke to throw one across. Freshness, second touch, maybe, yes. But that's going to bounce up and away. J. Russ will not have a shot.
Could have been a nice bounce there had it actually ceilinged out. As a good placement, good attempt from Freshness. Just didn't quite get enough power behind it to get it back down to a player to make use of.
Well, you got to like what you're seeing, though, out of Mirage on the offensive end. So many times we see players take these kind of soft, nothing happening shots. They're easy to save. You don't even have to be in position initially because it's just a little floater that you have forever to react to. Not the case with Mirage in this game. There have been some belters thrown right at the RBG defense. And unfortunately for Mirage, it has been right at the defense. Otherwise, this could be 3-1.
Yeah, the other side of that is when they're not taking the shot, they're still putting heat on the ball. I was talking about how trying to get that to the ceiling, get it to bounce down. They're doing it a lot, and they're bringing it up across the backboard and kind of smacking it into the ceiling there. And when they're doing that, it is just destroying the camera of that defender. That camera is whipping up, whipping down, left and right, and that's a great way to disorient a player in the net.
By the way, just because I love seeing stats like this, Tool came into this series averaging 0.36 goals per game. By the way, he's got 5 in this series alone. Here's Tool looking for his 6th, but that's going to go fluttering off to the side. Porklet now. Nobody in front for that ball. Bambi does cut this off. And he does have RBG going the right way yet again. Tool trying to go underneath the defense. But it looked like Freshness just got a piece. Now J. Russ lobbing one up to the backboard for himself. Got a shot off, but Tool will send it away. It's right down the middle, and Freshness will take control. Luke will take a shot on this time, and after so many times where they were trying to center off the backboard, nobody reacts in time to the shot.
Yeah, every single time they've come in from that sidewall so far, there hasn't been a shot from that angle. Mirage has really been opting to take that ball up and through the corner, even into heavy traffic, to try and get passes off the ceiling or create a pass off that back wall and down. And this time, Luke decides, you know what, we haven't tried this yet. I'm going to throw one at the net. I'm going to go in and bomb this guy in the net real quick. And coming through with the shot is J. Russ as the demo comes through on Bambi.
And Mirage are in great position now with a minute 10 left to force Game 5 and again prolong their season. They have milked this for all it's worth up to this point. Tool gets ahead of Freshness there, but eats a demo for his efforts. And Portland was trying to pinch one down in front. There is still possession for RBG, but not for long. And there is no hope left for RBG in Game 4.
I mean, there's a tiny bit, but it's basically gone at this point. RBG, open net, you can see that they're starting to kind of play ahead of themselves. They're picking up too much speed on the offensive half, and they're not getting back. They're not controlling the pace of this game like they did in the last two. Even though they did lose one of those two, they really did control the pacing, and this one has gone all Mirage's way since the beginning.
One thing that's very different in this game compared to previous games in this series, Supersonic, Forklet has not been nearly involved as much as in the past. And I think that really hampers RBG. This is probably the most he's been involved. This is about 30 seconds here as he watches the ball go right by him. Freshness thought about committing with J-Russ, but instead wisely turns back with the lead. And RBG are just going to go through the motions here in the final 15 seconds and regroup for game number 5, where they will still have a chance to spoil the season of Mirage. Luke looking for one for the road, and why not pad the stats just a little bit more.
It's your last chance to do so. Take advantage of it.
That one looked good. That's a great read, too, on that incoming challenge. And so now with his 4th goal of the series, he can walk off into game 5, where again the pressure's still on Mirage. They must win. They're the team with everything to lose in this series, but they didn't lose it here.
They didn't lose it here, but so far this has gone 1-2, 1-2.
Yep.
We're looking at 1 again. Does RBG pull the upset off? If they're gonna do it, now's the time.
Well, yeah, you know, it had been all 1-goal games up to this point, and the only reason this is a 1-goal game now is because RBG scored 1 goal. It was a blowout by, I guess, mathematical standards for Mirage, but they had to pull away late, and at that point, RBG is throwing caution into the wind anyways to try and get back into the game. So while you look at that scoreline and you say, okay, Mirage finally put it together, not so much. This was still a battle for a good 3 minutes or so.
They put it together for the first 3.5 minutes there. The back minute and a half was really just kind of desperation from RBG, which then turned into a couple extra goals on the other end. Not really indicative of what I'm expecting to see in the next match. They're clearly here to play. I don't expect them to say, we're in game 5, it's over now. They're still in it. So I expect RBG to show up and still play this match exactly as such. They are in it.
The odd games in this series have belonged to RBG. This, by the way, the 3rd time that they have played a Game 5. They have lost, obviously, the previous 2. One of them to Omni Nation. Go figure. Here we are, J-Russ. Blocked by Porklet. The ball's not out as Luke drops it right back into the zone, and that's not good from Bambi. It forces Porklet back into the net. It's pretty ugly defensively right now. J-Russ going to try to drop one down for Luke, and he will score!
The defensive rotation was blown out. The second Bambi made that touchdown in front of his net, forcing Tool to come back for that ball. No one had any idea of what number they were in the rotation. Nobody had any idea of where they needed to go, and it just turned into chaos at the goal line, which allowed Luke to just come in and make a really nice soft touch into that back post.
By the way, Superstar, you want to just take a guess, the other team that RBG took to Game 5?
I wouldn't need to guess. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't need to guess. I have this handy dandy thing on my other monitor that has all of those lines for me. So also, guess who else they took to Game 5?
Omni Nation, yes, and Mirage. But right now, Mirage is taking them to the woodshed. 2 goals in 45 seconds. And this is the Mirage we thought we were going to see coming into this game, into this series. Here is Luke. Taken away by Bambi. J-Russ is right there in midfield. That towards RBG again. They remain stuck deep in their own zone for a moment, but a quick counterattack. It is Bambi getting back on the board.
Those are the types of transitional goals that you love to see. Tool bangs one out there, and Bambi, all the faith in the world that he's going to connect with that as he just stretches for it and pounds it home.
They lost to Omni. They lost to Stromboli in 5. They're trying to change their fortunes in their final game of Season 9. J-Russ going to drop one down, and Tool is right there, so he can make a quick turn. But that was not the touch he needed. J-Russ was all over it. Luke cuts this off, but all that does is give it right back to Bambi. This is awkward for J-Russ after the miss. And a demo. Things are looking up for RBG, but nobody committed on the attack. Oh, that's one that's going to be costly if they lose by 1 goal, because that's one at this level, if you commit the cars forward, you absolutely should have a goal. And now they're double committing on the defensive end. It's like they're double committing when they obviously shouldn't be, but they're not committing anybody when they should.
Yeah, you know, maybe it's a mind game. We don't know. I don't know what's going on, what the comms are, but it's definitely not a typical game strategy to get things done. Double commit on the ball there. Not sure what Tool was thinking coming across. He had no business being on that ball.
And yet, after all this, they might tie the game. No. One stop made by the crossbar, another clear made by J-Russ. Boy, it is getting testy on the defensive end for Mirage, for both teams really, but Mirage is the team that can't afford to have mistakes like this. As J-Russ scrambles back, he'll get his own corner boost. But now this will be Portland. A little bit of communication there, it looked like, for RBG. But now they've got to scramble back. Somebody's got to get boost. Nobody comes forward. So that allows them to set this play up, and Mirage almost added to their lead.
It does feel like Mirage is kind of booming the ball back down the field quite a bit here, which is what's keeping RBG in this series. They're in the lead. I'd like to see them start taking possession of the ball more and trying to move it down the field with a little bit of thought and care rather than just smacking it down. I get that you're looking for a quick transitional goal, but if you're bombing it every time, that second man has to be perfect on connecting.
That's a good job by Bambi to get the ball out of the zone, but he's missed this here. J-Russ trying to go over Portlet. Tool committed as well. Portlet makes that save as well.
Luke
Portlet
has
watched
all...
RBG's series flash before his eyes.
Luke had the entire net. He had everything. The gates to the kingdom were open, and he smacks it right at Portlet and gives Portlet a save.
J-Russ makes another big clear, and now they got numbers back the other way. 2-on-1, and they don't even get a good shot off. Now Freshness. Beaten out there by Portlet. This will roll out towards Tool, but he's got to scramble back a little bit to get a good touch. He will also get the midfield boost, but he needs his teammates to come through. Bambi with 50 seconds left. Still a lot of time to defend. Tool coming on, couldn't get around for a shot. Now it'll be Portlet. He does get around, but that's blocked away by Freshness. Luke going to try to take control, and J-Russ got there just ahead of Bambi. More time off the clock as Mirage tries to hang on. If this lead holds up, they will retain their spot in the top 6. Nobody communicated between Bambi and Portlet, but Luke couldn't bring the ball forward. Now to be Bambi. Towards Portlet. Blocked by Freshness again with 14 seconds. It has been a mess for RBG, but they still have a chance. Now with 8 seconds left. Tool up ahead. Bambi is there. Tough angle. Oh, he gets it off the Tool. And Luke made the save. Luke just saved Mirage's season yet again. Freshness needs to down this somewhere, and he'll get help from Bambi to do so. Mirage stays alive and finishes inside the top 6.